busy singing to put anybody down. We're just trying to be friendly. Come and watch, sing and play. We're the young generation, and we've got something to say. Oh. Anytime or anywhere, just look over your shoulder. Guess who'll be standing there? Hey, hey, we're the monkeys, and people say we monkey around, but we're too busy singing.
We've been telling you about Corey Lewandowski and his fiery testimony with House Democrats, but that wasn't the only heated exchange on Capitol Hill.
Great place to start would be the Inspector General's report that was issued just 3 weeks ago, the scathing report about Jim Comey. But when I asked the chairman when we might have an opportunity to question Mr. Horowitz, he said, I don't know. I haven't thought about that. Of course you haven't thought about that. Too busy trying to impeach the president. Too busy slapping subpoenas on Corey Lewandowski.
The Judiciary Committee member Jim Jordan joins us now, along with his good buddy, Congressman Mark Meadows, both Freedom Caucus members. So, Jim, what was accomplished yesterday?
Well, I thought Corey Lewandowski handled himself very well. And look, he said the same thing numerous times to Republican members of Congress. Asked when he ran the campaign, a part of this campaign, if there was ever any type of coordination or work with Russia to impact the election. He said, no, there wasn't, which is interesting because that's the exact same answer Jim Comey gave us when he sat at that exact same desk, and Mark and I had a chance to depose him last year. It's also the exact same answer Bob Mueller gave us when we asked him that question, and he sat at that desk just a few weeks ago. So nothing new there, and Corey handled himself very well.
Congressman Meadows, it was the first time I could see the general media that always sides everything against Trump were really exasperated by the lack of preparation and objective that Nadler put forward yesterday. Did you sense that too?
Well, it was not only a lack of preparation, but it was a complete debacle. When you look at it now, they're 0 for 2. Remember, they brought in Bob Mueller, and it didn't go as well. And actually, you can make the case that they're 0 for 3. The whole 2.5 years of a Russian collusion narrative that didn't pan out because there was no collusion. Then they brought in Bob Mueller. It was a disaster. Then yesterday with Corey Lewandowski, it was another disaster. But Jim was pointing out a very good thing. It is two standards. You know, they'll bring in a janitor if the president uses the wrong recycling bin to try to disparage this president. But yet when it comes to Democrats and wrongdoing, they don't want to have witnesses. They don't want to have anybody there because they're afraid of the truth.
So now, today we understand it's an anniversary of Inspector Generals. One of them will be Mr. Horowitz. We know that he's been working on FISA abuse. How are you going to cut through the ceremonial portion of the hearing and get to maybe some substantive answers, Jim?
Well, we're going to ask him about the report that we should have had a hearing on, frankly, but Mr. Nadler and Mr. Cummings haven't scheduled it. Asking about the report he released 3 weeks ago. Specifically, I want to ask him a little bit about what took place at the Trump Tower meeting when it was President-elect Trump Because we always assumed they went up there to brief the president on the dossier so they could then leak that information and the press would print the dossier, which we know was complete garbage. But we also learned from Mr. Horowitz's report, they went up to that meeting trying to set up the president, trying to trap the president, because immediately after that meeting, Jim Comey goes out, gets in his secure car on his secure laptop and starts typing notes. And Mr. Horowitz points out on page 17 and 18 of his report that they were looking to get information about their pending investigation, about the Trump-Russia investigation. All the while, Jim Comey is telling the president, you're not under investigation. So that is so wrong. I want to make sure we get into that a little bit today and a host of other questions as well.
And Brian, let me follow up on that because Jim hits a critical point. What we now have is when Jim and I were in there actually during congressional testimony asking Jim Comey questions, he gave conflicting answers with what the Inspector General has reported. So now what we've done is we've gone over his testimony and the Inspector General's report, and we find major inconsistencies. So today, hopefully, some of that will come out. Now, that's not what the hearing's about because the Democrats wouldn't call him in, Michael Horowitz, to go over this scathing report, but we'll take that opportunity early and often to make sure the truth gets out to the American people.
Talk about the truth. Andy McCabe yesterday said that I will not be cutting a deal if I'm indicted because I did nothing wrong intentionally. I never intentionally misled. Jim, your thoughts real quick?
Well, the Inspector General had a little different story, Brian. He said he lied 3 times under oath. So, look, Andy McCabe can say all he wants. All I know is the Justice Department, as was reported last week, is moving ahead. And the Inspector General's report was as clear as it could be. He lied to the Inspector General. Right. He lied to the folks at the Justice Department. I think they got a completely different story there.
I just can't wait. If anyone gets in trouble with the FBI, hey, I didn't do it intentionally. It's no big deal. That's what we're supposed to all learn. Mark Meadows, Jim Jordan, good thing. Glad to see you guys get along for a change. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thanks,
all right.
Hello and welcome back to No Bullshit. Today we return to talking about one of our least favorite pro-progressive YouTube creators out there, Lilly Singh, aka Superwoman. She recently started hosting a brand new late night talk show for television called A Little Late with Lilly Singh. And you probably already know what the main focus of all her jokes are going to be. Many were very disappointed with Lilly's premiere last night. And that's not just us anti-SJW types who already disliked her from YouTube. No, Lilly's own fans are also realizing how not funny she really is, and how obsessed with herself and her identity, and how much she likes to joke about LGBTQIA issues and race. That's basically Lilly's whole shtick now, and it's not something she does well to begin with either. Not to mention, these kinds of bits get real old real quick. There's only so many times you can listen to this multi-millionaire millennial and Canadian bisexual who's been handed careers on YouTube and in film and now in TV, yet there's only so many times you could hear someone like this complain and act like she's oppressed or something else. That's just not true. Honey, if you were oppressed for being Indian or bisexual, you wouldn't be making millions of dollars right now. Nor would you be allowed to make all these anti-white jokes like what you're doing day after day. Lilly's tendencies to not only bash men and white people and Christians, but also she tends to hate America and also be a pro-Muslim too, that likes to complain about her money as well. Even though, as I said, Lilly Singh is a multi-millionaire, and she also takes large and long breaks from her YouTube channel all the time. Sometimes she even takes so-called mental health breaks because apparently producing 5 to 10 minutes of content a week is too taxing for this brown bisexual. Wouldn't be that big a deal either. Taking breaks is all fine and dandy if you want to, but if you have to do it and then tell everyone about it and then afterwards you start complaining you're not making enough money anymore, well, then you look stupid like Lilly, and you also look greedy, and it shows that you just don't understand how the world works. But let's get back to this new late night talk show for now. Today we're going over her first ever monologue from Superwoman's new show called A Little Late, and spoiler warnings if you haven't heard